between in the U shape here and serve the table. See, it's pretty practical. And can you picture now 12 guys plus Jesus, 13 around the table. Okay, this was the setting. But who was here on his left and right? Do you remember how the disciples always wanted to have that position? Because this is the place of honor, right here. Well, we know who's right here because he's the one that leaned on Jesus' breast. That's exactly what's going on. You just lean back a little bit and relax. And while you're having the meal, on his chest, yeah, you're resting there.
John.
Who's that?
John.
That's John. So who's right here?
Don.
The one that he dipped in the bowl with. It could have been the one who will betray me, Jesus said, is the one who dips in the bowl. They shared the bowl, these three right here. Then the next three shared. So it's obvious that it had to be John or Judas. So we know that all throughout the meal, Jesus is leaning on Judas, on his chest. Jesus knows he's going to betray him. But look what he's doing. He's including him in the meal. So I'm just thinking, what do you think? There's a picture of the forgiveness. I mean, he's going to go do it. And he knows it. But he's going to share the meal with him. And guess what? This is the position of the guest of honor. Right there. At his left hand. Because this one, though the right hand sounds more like that would be exalted, that's the one who's going to get up and help serve. Because everybody else is packed in. But who's going to also be involved in this drama? Remember? When Jesus says it's the one who dips the bowl, and somebody's over there going, who's that? It says he's gesturing. It's right in John. We read it. He's gesturing. So that would be Paul over there. Paul's around the table. He's seated himself at the last. Peter.
You need us.
He sees me, he's thinking Paul.
Exactly.
He is Paul.
Yeah.
So he's gesturing over here because John could see him. And he's wondering what's going on. So we kind of have an idea, from the layout and knowing how the table was set. Okay, so have we got the picture? This is how Jesus raised the cup and he raised the bread. He said, "This is my body," right? Broken for you. So as I break this, why don't we? We're going to get the crumbs here. You guys, we did that last time, but we were okay, right? Okay.
Tutu, clean it up. Tutu will be in.
You're going to just take a piece and pass it. Here, gentlemen can take a piece and pass it.
There was.
Yes, you can. Can you see?
You guys
just
I just saw your hand come out.
You can take a piece and pass it.
I don't think that's cool.
It was, does anybody remember the 4 cups that we talked about last time?
Of your Kit Kat bar. I'll have that one.
Hey everybody,
Cracker.
Melanie's got the most important cup, I think we could say. But you got it, the cup of redemption
Look,
is
it's all
the
over
cup
me.
after the meal. Judas was there for the meal. And then Jesus washed the disciples' feet. By the way, picture that. They would have all been stretched out, their feet would have been stuck out here in a very confined space. Jesus wouldn't have been like, kneeling in a gracious, way you might make a painting of. It's somebody seated before him. Jesus is dragging a bowl like this and washing dirty feet. That's what the servant of the house would have done, but he did it instead. So that the picture of it is incredible when you think about it. The drama of what's going to go on with Judas here, because he's going to tell him to go ahead and do what he has to do. And when he meets again in the garden, some hours later, he calls him friend. Why have you come? He said, but he knows full well. So, after the meal, he took the cup. It's the cup of redemption, as Melanie said. And he took the bread too. So we'll remember now his body and his blood. I just need a piece of the bread. Anybody have some to share? Where's yours? Here's the next one. Everybody got their bread? Oh, thank you. Thank you. Before I pray and we receive this, did anybody else want to share maybe what you're seeing in this act of redemption? It's the cup of redemption. Jesus is, I think he's offering redemption to Judas, though in the fulfillment of all things that he can't receive it, it seems. There's a sovereignty of God going on that's beyond our understanding. But he's definitely forgiving him, isn't he? He's walking in forgiveness, there's no question. And this is his betrayer. He seated him at the seat of honor. He calls him friend in the garden when he comes to betray him. But he'll release him to God, the Father who will judge. Right?
Right.
He'll walk in forgiveness because the judge will judge. And then he suffered judgment for his betrayal.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts?
Well, the way you just depicted Jesus going around on his hands and knees around the circle behind, I've never heard or thought of that visual image of Christ serving. And somehow, at least in my mind, I can't really picture him being the same Jesus today for us. But we know he's the same yesterday, today, and forever. It's like if we can just receive his love and his service, that's he's doing that for